If you hear the sound of someone passing gas in the background, please don't be alarmed. That's just my rice cooker. I'm not trying to fart throughout this podcast. My rice cooker is just working extra hard for me today since time is a little bit tight because I went to bed at 4 a.m. last night editing, and I woke up a little bit later, so I have to do everything all at once together. So bear with me. I'm not farting. I do not have stomach problem. Spring is here, and my nose does a great job reminding me that every single day because it has been so congested. I can barely breathe. I don't know how I'm still alive at the moment. And I've used up almost like half roll of toilet paper. Don't ask me why it's toilet paper. Listen, tissues are expensive, okay? If I buy those big packs of like, what is it? 10 packs? Value pack? Of those toilet paper, I'm gonna use all 10 rows of them for every single thing. Aside from my nose situation, everything else has been wonderful. The weather is getting a little bit warmer and it's not rainy yet. I know the monsoon season is coming or has passed, but right now, not too long ago, the cherry blossoms were blooming, and now everything just look very green and the flowers are excited and I can feel that in my nose. And not too long ago it was actually my birthday. However, because I was working, didn't really have time to celebrate. So we scheduled this weekend, both days, to be our chill day and finally go out and do things that I wanted to do. And wow, because I wanted to do many things, but we don't have a lot of time, both days were jam-packed. I could not. Wow. We went to so many different places. We left usually around in the morning, 9 and 10, and we come back 7 or 8, mostly because of transportation. But let me tell you what I did for my late birthday celebration slash relaxation from work. Aside from taking this as like a relaxed trip, usually on the weekend is also when we film for my YouTube channel, and throughout the week I edit, right? Ha ha ha! I had this pimple that lived on my face. Okay, not just one. It brought its relatives to my face as well, and it was so big. I was thinking, can we delay filming just one day? How about we film on Sunday instead of Saturday? So that changed our plans a little bit. Originally, we wanted to visit 2 restaurants on Saturday, and on Sunday we can just chill and actually relax. But because of my pimple armies, we basically changed our schedule and swapped them for both days. On Saturday, it started with shopping. I went to the store called Uniform Bridge in Korea. They are like a workwear store. They sell things that are very, how should I say? It reminds me of like Dickies or Carhartt workwear, but with a spin of modern design. I wanted to buy a good pair of jeans for a long time. I've always bought these fast fashion jeans that were really cheap because I'm gonna talk about this another time. I'm not really big on spending a lot of money on clothes, but I realized recently the importance of a good pair of jeans. So I thought, you know what? I got my stimulus check. How about I invest in myself in an actual good pair of jeans? So I went to Uniform Bridge, and they were known for their good qualities, and they had this pair of selvedge jean that I was kind of eyeing, but it was kind of expensive. It was like around 70-ish, 80. Well, for people who actually buy jeans, you would say, oh, that's cheap, because Levi's, they're very expensive, right? But this was a big investment for me. So I said, you know what? I need to be there. I need to try it on and make sure it's the right size, make sure it's the right fit then I'm committed into actually purchasing a pair of my own. So we went. I think it was about an hour bus ride, an hour-ish. We got there, we went to the store, and the first store we went to was actually its outlet store. We thought it was its actual store, and we're like, wow, this is really small. It's like the size of a public toilet. And they showed us, no, you need to head down straight through the alley. It's like the store is inside an alleyway. It's like built on a slope. I cannot describe to you how interesting it looked. It felt like I was walking through a cave, and inside the cave there was a store. It was very nicely designed, and I loved the aesthetic. So we went in, found my pants, tried it on. I've never tried a pair of raw jeans before, and it was very like tight. So I was like, is this what it's supposed to feel like? And they told me if you wear it all day and you just kind of break the jeans, it's kind of like breaking leather shoes, then they'll be fine. And also because it's salvage jean, basically it's like raw jean, right? It hasn't been washed to get those lighter color. If I want to wear it with light colored clothes or white shirts, I need to wash it at least 2-3 times so that the color doesn't rub off on other fabrics. After I found my pair of salvage jean, I decided, you know what? How about we buy another pair of pants? Reason being is that this store is a little bit far and we don't come here often. Since we're here, might as well try on another pair of good quality pants, buy it, and call it a day. So I bought another pair of like this cream color fatigue pants. I'm not very familiar with the term fatigue pants, but it looks very relaxed and it reminds me of chino pants? No, are they chino pants? I'm so sorry. I'm a fashion terrorist, as you can tell. So I got 2 pants, satisfied, swiped my card, thanked Joe Biden, and left the store. Now, since we came out from the main store, we thought, hey, how about we go back to that outlet store and see if we can find something else? And this is where I made a grave mistake. Because of the store's aesthetic is workwear, their furnishing, the store layout, I don't know how to describe it, but the things that they use, it's like very industrial-like. So the door on that store, it's like this big giant metal door. And I was closing the door, but because the space was so small, I kind of lost a sense of spatial awareness, and I held on to the door thinking that it wasn't going to shut anytime soon, and I jammed my middle finger between that metal door and the metal door frame. Jesus Christ, it hurt so bad. I was like, I lost feelings for a second, and when I looked down, it was definitely bleeding and bruising, and I was like, I need Band-Aids. So we went to a close-by convenience store, CU. We went to CU. Yeah, I think it's a CU. And we got a Band-Aid because I was so afraid. Every time I get hurt or an open cut wound, my first concern is, what if it gets infected? What if I have to amputate it? So I was scared. I was a weak bitch. And I didn't use alcohol swab. I just cleaned around it and I put a Band-Aid over it thinking, okay, if I put a Band-Aid over it, at least I eliminate the chances of it touching other dirty stuff while I'm continue to shop for the rest of the day. So I put a Band-Aid on and I held my hand up and I just continued walking. And for this weekend, I had a checklist. Well, it wasn't really a checklist. I wrote it for fun. I stuck it onto Taro's laptop as like a reminder, and I wrote birthday wish list, right? On the left side, I have food-related items. I have souffle. I've watched way too many seasons of MasterChefs, and I grew this longing to try souffle. I've never had souffle in my life. So I wrote down, I want to try souffle, boba, have a photo shoot, cute cafe, cute cupcake, bingsu, which is like the shaved ice, ping pong. Oh, we have this ping pong room downstairs that we often play when we're free, and it's very fun, but we haven't done it in a while because we're busy. I also wrote Chinese food, and on the right side, I have lists of stores that I want to go to, which was This Is Never That. It's a street brand in South Korea, which I liked very much, and another store called Wonder Place. So on this trip, we visited almost every single store. And when I wrote down that list, it was just like a 3-minute high thing. I'm like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Next day, I forgot I wrote that list on his laptop. So after we went to Uniform Bridge, after I jammed my finger, I was asking, okay, so where are we going next? Usually I'm not the one navigating. Taro is. So Taro's like, okay, it's a secret. And I was like, what? Okay. So I followed him through many subway stops, and we arrived at this one authentic looking street. On the street, all I see are Chinese signs. So there were restaurants everywhere, and leasing offices, banks, bakery shops. So we were just walking down the street and smelling everything. And I'm seeing these pastries, like the traditional buns and mantou. And I was like, oh my God, I miss Chinese food so much. And then Tara was like, yeah, on your list, you also wrote that you wanted to eat Chinese food. So I asked my coworkers for their recommendations, and they recommended this one place. So we went there. They have 2 branches on the same street because they were that popular. And we think that the staffs were Chinese because Taro said that their Korean pronunciation sounded a little bit strange. And I also overheard them speaking Mandarin. So I was like, wow, this place is authentic. So we waited. It was a long time. It was a long time. But finally, we got in and we sat down and we had their food. Oh, I miss Motherland so much. Motherland food. And we had some noodles. I don't know how to describe it in English. You know, there are different types of noodle. Usually we've seen like the long noodles, or hand pull noodles. There's another kind where you roll the dough, right? And you use the knife and you shave it. So it's called, in Chinese, the literal translation is knife shaved noodles. It's one of my favorite. And then we also had gobaro. What is that in English? It's kind of like 탕수육, but different. It was the best I've had in my life. And then we had some other side dishes. And what else did we have? Oh, we had xiaolongbao. We had soup dumplings. Oh, it was so good. We were so stuffed. And it was so cheap. Both of us, we ordered 1, 2, 3, 4 items. It was only 30-ish, which is pretty cheap at other places if you go to like a mall. But obviously malls are going to be expensive. Both of us would take like $40 and not nearly as much food. So we were thrilled. It was good food, good price, and we had to walk it off. So I'm like, okay, what's next? And Taro's like, secret. At this point, I'm just trying to remember what I wrote on my list because honestly, I do not remember what I wrote down on my birthday wish list. So many subway stops later, we came to, I think it was in Mapo. When I say Mapo, it reminds me of Mapo tofu. But we came to this alley. It was almost like a maze. The distance between buildings and buildings were very small, but there were many specialty cafes inside, and they all looked bougie. Like people here wear trench coats and like slacks, and then we're here in hoodies and coaching jacket. And then we were just like, feels a little out of place, but we're here. And he took me to this souffle pancake restaurant. Apparently it was made famous on YouTube, and there were people lining up. So we thought that, you know, whenever you see people lining up for something, it has to be good, right? All of a sudden it started raining. So while we were hiding from the rain, we took a big loop around this huge maze, like this cafe maze. And then we came back to the souffle restaurant. And at this point, the line has dispersed. So we waited to be seated and we sat down inside. It's very, it feels like a vintage cafe. And the waitress, they were wearing white shirts with, what are those things called? I am losing all the English I've ever retained in my life. You know, the belt, it's not necessarily a belt that they wear from their shoulder to their pants, but the waitresses were wearing that, and then they were wearing loafers and stuff like that. So overall, the aesthetic of the stores felt very vintage and very unique. So we sat down and we looked at the menu. Oh my God. One souffle pancake cost $22. We were like, this better be good. And it was so good. It melted in my mouth. But would I pay $22 for it? I would not. Maybe 15, maybe 10, but not $22. Also, it takes a long time for them to make it. It takes 30 minutes per order. So we were just kind of sitting there and sipping on our drinks, waiting for our expensive, fluffy, bouncy souffle pancake. After we were stuffed over and over again, it was time for us to really, really walk it off. But at that point, it was around 5 in the afternoon, and I thought our day was over. So I'm thinking, okay, we're going to take this bus, take that subway, and we're going to go home. And then it wasn't really the route that we would take to go home. So I'm like, where are we going next? And I jokingly said, oh, are we going to the Hangang? Are we going to the Han River? And he looked at me, he's like, now that my plan is exposed, let's go. So we went to the Hangang. One thing I said in the past that I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of just sit right next to Hangang and have ramen. Feels like it's on my bucket list. I've always wanted to do it. Feels very drama-like. But at the same time, I just like to be in nature and enjoy a moment of peace. And because the weather was nice, I wanted to do that sometime soon, but I completely forgot about it. So it was still a nice surprise. We went there. It was hella windy, so we couldn't stay there for long or else we would have gotten sick. And there were still some people there and a lot of people taking pictures. You can rent mats there for $2 and buy ramen. They're pre-cooked and just sit down and picnic. There were a lot of teenagers doing that there. And we thought to ourselves, okay, maybe 1 month later when the weather gets a little bit warmer so we don't have to wear coats or get blown in the face and freeze to death, we'll do that. Finally, that was the end of Saturday. So it was very, very eventful. I was happy. The fact that I got 2 pants that I really, really wanted for a long time. Oh, there's Taro. There's Taro. He's having some issue with the door. I'm so confused. Let's see. Hello. So I was explaining what we did on Saturday. I think after we came home from our busy schedule, we stayed up playing League?
No,
We didn't?
you did.
We did. That's what I thought.
Thought too.
From all the adrenaline that we accumulated throughout the day, we came home and played League of Legends till maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. We had self-control because we knew that on Sunday we had to film. So no more playing around. So we didn't stay up too late. On Sunday, we're finally picking up the slack that we temporarily tucked away on Saturday because of my huge pimple. Now, at this point, in my mind, I thought that magically my gigantic pimple would just go away. It didn't. It was still there. So we cannot delay it any further. So we went to these two restaurants that we plan on visiting for my new series. First restaurant was this baby octopus with intestine, 곱창, on a, is it a stew? It's not really a stew, but you cook it in the pot. And then when it's ready, you mix it all together. The color is red, and it's like, it's not really gochujang. It's not really the spicy paste, but it's something very similar. Mix it all together. There's rice cake in there, and then you scoop some and you put it in the bowl with the rice, and then you mix other ingredients like, what is it? Bean sprouts, seaweed, chives together, and it almost looked like a bibimbap. That was the first restaurant we visited. And then the second restaurant we were supposed to visit only opens at 5:30. So we had this huge gap between right now, which is around 11, and all the way till 5:30. Like, what are we going to do? So we decided, you know what? How about let's be a little bit productive, because we weren't productive on Saturday. Let's go to a cafe, sit down, and do some editing. So that's what I had planned. However, life doesn't work that way, especially my laptop doesn't like to work that way. I charge it full the night before, and I guess because I'm running Final Cut Pro, my computer died like after an hour-ish. So I'm just sitting there waiting for 5 o'clock to come. And 5 o'clock finally came. We pack up and went to the second restaurant. It's also located in an alley. It looks shady, I will not lie. But this place was not open. It closed. It didn't specify why, but it was closed. Now, we were we were stuck between a rock and a hard place, because today was the final free day that we had to film for my project, for my series. We had to think of something on the spot. And we couldn't really just visit any restaurant, because my theme for this series was Korean hip-hop related, and we were visiting all the places that rappers have recommended or personally owned. And we're just looking and searching, and finally there was this one last place called, I forgot what it was called, but they served cold noodle. So we took another bus, another train, and we got to this place, and we had the cold noodle. We filmed, and at that point, it was about, I want to say, 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock at night. We were so tired, but at this point, I have a deadline of uploading videos on Sundays. I still have my videos to edit. It wasn't finished, because remember, my laptop died when we were at the cafe. So we take the bus, we take the subway, and then we take a taxi home. I'm sitting in front of my desk at 9 p.m. just like, why did I do this to myself? And then I start editing. Because I'm what you call a procrastinating perfectionist, most of the time I procrastinate because I worry about it being not perfect. So it takes longer time for me to edit. But once I'm in like the editing zone, time kind of flies. So I'm editing all the way until, I want to say 12, and I'm finally done with the basic edits. However, that extra brain cell that I have was like, you know what, you should do this. Yeah, you should do this. You should make the thumbnail look like this too. And then I spend all this extra time adding the extra things that the video didn't really necessarily need it, but I wanted to the video. And before I know it, it was like 2, 3 o'clock. And I shower and I go to bed, and here we are. What is it? 40 minutes? 40 minutes before I have to go to work, and I'm sitting here recording this late podcast. Even though it was very busy, I thoroughly enjoyed my weekend. Finally got to do many things I wrote down on my bucket list, things that I remember and things that I don't, but it was necessary. We both needed a break, and was a very fun weekend. So thank you, Tara.
말하시는 거.
And once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Lactose Intolerant. Our apologies for the mundane, Jesus,
Sorry.
mundane background noise. We're just trying to put our life together, have some lunch before we both go to work. And thank you again for being here for another week. I hope you are enjoying your weekend as well in the lovely spring weather wherever you are. As always, stay safe and we'll see you next week. Bye.